A man leans across a ramen counter and answers a player out loud, and the answer was never written down. In NVIDIA's 2023 Kairos demo, an NPC named Jin holds an unscripted spoken conversation. The words, the voice, and the face animation all generated live in the moment the player asks. For the first time, a game character is actually talking back. That is the promise hanging over modern games. Every new layer of AI makes worlds feel bigger, faster, more responsive. It also raises a harder question. What used to require a person before the machine learned to do a version of it? Start at the opposite end of the timeline. In 1980, Pac-Man's ghosts looked smart enough to panic players in arcades all over the world. Under the hood, Toru Iwatani's game was running simple rule-based behavior. One ghost chased directly. One tried to ambush. One moved less predictably. One scattered. Scripted finite state rules, not learning, not generation. Just enough logic to feel alive when you were being cornered. That was the first trade, a tiny bit of code standing in for a human game master. By 2016, the scale changed completely. Hello Games, a small British studio that had grown to about 20 people, released No Man's Sky with a universe of over 18 quintillion planets, built entirely through procedural generation instead of hand-designed levels. No level design team could finish that world planet by planet. An algorithm did it instead. That trade bought players a kind of wonder. It also changed the job itself. When software can sketch the terrain, the designer's role shifts from building every hill to shaping the rules that build them. For some people, that shift opened the door. Solo Japanese developer Naoki Fujinaga released Firefield, a Diablo-style action RPG, on Steam after roughly 3 months of development. He told Korea Game Desk that Anthropic's Claude Code was his primary coding partner, and that he did not write any of the code by hand himself. One person, one commercial game, sitting on the same storefront as titles built by full studios. That is AI at its best. It lowers the price of admission and lets one person make something that used to take a studio. Then the stakes moved from tools to people. On July 26, 2024, SAG-AFTRA began a strike against major video game companies. The union's stated issue was AI protections. Performers said companies could replicate a voice or likeness without meaningful consent or pay. That fight was not theoretical. If a studio can build a voice model from recorded sessions, it can create new lines later without ever bringing the actor back into the booth. When the strike ended, the agreement reportedly included exactly the kind of terms performers were demanding. Consent to use a digital voice replica could be voided if the use went beyond what the performer originally agreed to, and every 300 lines of AI-generated dialogue from that voice would trigger a new session fee. Now the trade is no longer abstract convenience. It is a contract battle over who gets paid when software keeps speaking in your voice. Players get caught in this too. Activision's Ricochet anti-cheat system in Call of Duty has issued documented false permanent bans against innocent players. In one reported case, a workaround let people trigger bans by sending specific words in a chat message or friend request before Activision confirmed the problem and restored the affected accounts. The company said it affected a small number of accounts. For those players, that was enough. The system built to protect the game had become the thing wrongly locking them out of it. And then came the part the industry notices first: payroll. In November 2025, Square Enix carried out layoffs across nearly all of its business outside Japan. On the same day, it detailed plans to have generative AI handle 70% of its quality assurance and debugging work by the end of 2027. Square Enix did not publicly say the AI plan caused the cuts. The timing is hard to miss anyway. Activision Blizzard shows the same pattern from another angle. Roughly 1,100 employees were laid off in 2024 as part of Microsoft's wider restructuring. while its Call of Duty teams were confirmed to be using generative AI tools like Mid-Journey and Stable Diffusion for concept art and cosmetic assets. The companies do not need to say the quiet part out loud for workers to hear it. In 2023, Xu Yingying, who runs an independent game art studio in Chongqing, laid off 5 of her 15 character designers. Her explanation was blunt. 2 people could now do the work that used to take 10. That is what AI adoption looks like when it reaches headcount. Not a futuristic demo, just a smaller room. It also reaches into the design of the games themselves. Industry reporting says companies including Zynga and Tencent use AI systems that analyze individual player behavior in real time to personalize difficulty, quests, and purchase offers, with reported gains in retention and monetization. The game is not just reacting to what players do, it is learning how to keep them playing longer, and in some cases, how to sell to them more effectively. The real conflict was never AI versus humans, it was over who controls the AI, and whether the people whose work and voices trained it are credited or paid. The same technology sits on both sides of this. It let one solo developer ship a game alone. In commercial art tools, that same kind of generative system has also been trained on human-made artwork, scraped from the internet without permission or pay, a practice thousands of artists protested on ArtStation in December 2022. So next time a game character answers you instantly and sounds alive, ask whose voice you are actually hearing. A voice in a game is still somebody's voice.